Choosing your starter car is always a difficult decision, considering you really don't know what each car is capable of because you really haven't played the game. Lucky for you, I've played through the campaign several different times with each car, and in this video I'm going to guide you through that decision with information about each car's performance. Let's go! Real quick before we get into it, if you're looking for any of my builds or you're just looking for information on the cars, you can go to militiagamingco.com, click on Need for Speed Heat builds from the top, and there you go. You'll find all the builds that I've done. All right, let's get into it. So we need to talk first about what matters and what doesn't when it comes to picking your car. The things that do matter when picking the car are the car performance, the customization, the handling, and the durability when it comes to dealing with the cops. What doesn't matter is unlocking parts because you do it at the same rate, leveling up, which is just your rep you gain. None of these cars gain rep faster than the others, and your money gain. Your money has nothing to do with your car and everything to do with the races and the level you have. Also, unlocking parts is tied to your leveling, so again, doesn't really matter. None of that stuff is determined by the car, so you can put all that to rest. You're really only looking at the car's performance, like I said, customization, how it handles, and its durability. All right, let's get into the pros and cons list of the car at its bone stock state. Right at the beginning, you just select the car and you're off doing races. Starting with the Mustang. The pros are its power, its top speed, its drift scoring ability, and its drift control. It's the best of the three in terms of drifting, and that is the reason this car is chosen as the speedrunner's car of choice. You can speed run through this game, and drifting plays a big part in that. So if you look at YouTube and go through and look at speed runs on Need for Speed Heat, you can definitely see almost everyone, probably everyone, using the Mustang. Anyways, the cons for this Mustang is that it's very slow off the line. It's pretty slow in corners as well, and that's because it tends to drift a little too much. It's got lots of power, and it's a rear-wheel drive car. Now, if we move on to the BMW, the pros are it's very controllable, it's got a great turning radius, and it's very durable against the cops compared to the others. And I'll talk about that durability in a little bit. Now, the cons for the BMW is that it's just very average at everything else. It's an average acceleration, average top speed, average cornering. It's just an average car when it comes to performance. If we move on to the 180SX, the pros are it's the best off the line, it's got great speed in corners, and it does have controllable drifting. The cons are it doesn't have enough power in the top end, which means it is slow to get to that top speed. Now, it has a decent top speed once it gets there, but it does take a little bit of NOS or, a little bump from a cop from behind in order to get you there a little bit faster. Again, that's just at the very, very beginning. Now, speaking of the beginning, let's take a look at some of the test times that I ran on these first couple of races. In the very beginning of the game, you'll have one race during the day, and then you'll have one race at night. During these two races, the times are honestly fairly close when it comes to these cars because the races don't really test the cars that much. But if you want to take a look at these rankings, the 180SX ran a 124.55 on that first day race, and I think I could probably get it down a little bit lower. The BMW ran a 125.08 and the Mustang ran a 125.35, and that first day race is all about corners and drifting, and because you have a couple of corners that you need to drift and that Mustang is a little bit slower when drifting, that's how you get that slow time. The second race, which is at night, the Mustang actually ran the best time at 121.25, and that's because that race is a lot longer. It's a very straight course. It's basically all about top speed and nothing else. The BMW ran a 123.45 and the 180SX ran a 123.75. Both of those times probably could be improved a little bit based on the traffic that's involved and how I took the corners and stuff like that. I feel like driver error probably played a little bit of a part in that, but in general, that's exactly how I would have ranked them if you just asked me on the street. Anyways, like I said, the 180SX best for corners and handling, Mustang best for top speed. That's kind of how it works. The BMW's right in the middle, and it's sort of the average car. But how does it work when you start to upgrade them? So as you upgrade them, you're going to need to know which parts are the most important, and the Mustang actually needs tires, suspension, and differential first. You're looking for track tires, track suspension, and track differentials. Fast as you can get that, the better for the car. If those things are not unlocked, obviously you have some money, throw some power at it, but the car has more power than the other two, and so I would recommend upgrading all of your handling, all of your chassis type stuff first, and then dump some power into it. The 180SX needs power, and the BMW needs basically everything. So you can upgrade the BMW in sort of a balanced way. I would dump power into the 180, and I would dump everything you can into the tire, suspension, differential for the Mustang. Now, for players with a lot of experience in racing games and have pretty good car control, the Mustang is probably the best choice just because it has a lot of power and you don't find yourself slowing down too much. If I'm gonna speed run the game, I'm for sure picking the Mustang. But if you're just starting the game, you're not so confident in your skills, I highly recommend the 180SX because it tends to be the most controllable and reliable car to drive fast. But in general, none of these three cars is going to be going fast at the beginning of the game. As you start to upgrade them, the 180SX starts to separate itself from the other two. The BMW is the choice for people who might have a harder time getting away from the cops and want just like a tiny bit more protection. But keep in mind the damage to each vehicle is only slightly different. I mean, it's really close depending on the car, and it really depends on where you get hit and how fast you're going versus how fast the cop is going, and are you doing the hitting or is the cop doing it? There's a lot of variables involved in that, so this is kind of really hard to judge and test, but in general the BMW seems to be able to take a better hit. Now, if you'd like to take your starter car through the entire campaign, I'd highly recommend the 180SX. As you can see from my rankings here, the 180 ranks the best in all the racing categories when it's in its fully upgraded state, and to be honest, it starts to feel better than the others right around rep level 20. If you'd like to buy lots of cars throughout your playthrough, or you just want to like get rid of your starter car immediately and upgrade to something else, here are your options. At rep level 4, which happens like right away, you unlock the Sylvia, the RX-7, and the Lotus Exige. Of those three cars, the RX-7 is the most useful throughout your playthrough because it's the best drift car in the game and it's a decently fast race car. The Exige is the most controllable and it's a little bit faster than the RX-7, but both of those cars would do fine. You're just gonna have to grind up a lot of cash during the day in order to purchase those cars. Keep in mind, any parts that you put on your starter car can be transferred over to whatever the next car is that you buy. You just have to take them off the starter car first and then equip the second car that you buy and then go to inventory and put those parts on there. It's very easy, but the game doesn't really explain that to you. So any parts you buy throughout your playthrough is an investment into any car that you're going to purchase down the line, so just keep that in mind. My suggestion though, if you're dead set on buying a car and getting rid of your starter car, is to not buy a car until rep level 16. At 16, you unlock quite a few cars and you're going to be unlocking the fastest car in the game, the Porsche 911 RSR. You also unlock a very controllable and very good drift car in the Evo 9. The Evo 9 is very well rounded, it's very fast, not quite as fast as the RSR, but it is very good, and both cars are great for the campaign playthrough as they're both fast, they work really well at night, during the day, they're good for running from cops. It is very good for either one of those cars. That is my recommendation if you're set on buying a new car. The RSR happens to be the most dominant car at basically every level of racing, so if you're looking to destroy those AI, maybe that's the one you go with. Aside from that, I'll link my spreadsheet to all the cars that I've tested and their rankings in the description down below if you're ever just shopping for another car and you want to see how it performs before you buy it. All right, so to sum it up, here's my suggestions. I officially recommend the 180SX for the majority of players. If you're an experienced racing game player and you feel confident in your skills, I think you'll do better with the Mustang, but the 180SX overall throughout the entire playlist is going to be the best car. It ends up being the best car once it's fully upgraded as well, so that's my official suggestion, but you can take a look again at my pros and cons and see which car actually fits your driving style the best. All right, I hope this helps, and keep in mind you can always send me a DM. I will answer every single message that comes my way on Instagram or Discord. I appreciate you guys watching. I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.